Good evening. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018. The time is now 6 p.m. Now call the meeting to order. Will we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, take board action for the review of minutes for September 25th, 2018 meeting. Any board discussion?
Just on the second page of the minutes, I don't know if it's just a typo or whatever, but the sentence just didn't make sense. I guess the second time we see Lieutenant U's name,
The second page?
on page number 2 of the minutes, it says Lieutenant U thanked the board and gave cause for that and asked for,
Okay, the second.
kind of middle ways the page. It's just that.
Okay, and gave cards
So that, and asked for.
that were asked for.
Yeah, whatever, I just was trying to make whatever, we need to clean that up, that's all.
Or by board members. Yeah, that's when Lieutenant Oob,
And I recall he did give us that.
He
yeah,
gave us the business cards.
business cards, so we could reach him after hours if need be.
Mr. Chair, that's all I had, if nothing further.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended
Mr.
by
Chair,
Commissioner Woods?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pass a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, seeing that Lieutenant Oob's not here this evening, we'll dispense with the Sheriff's Department report. We'll begin the financial report, review of low rent and HCVP expense reports for September 2018. Mr. Ricotta.
Okay, first we're going to look at the low rent. This is for the 12 months ended September 18. I'm looking at page 1, and I'm going to just do a brief synopsis.
Please.
Okay. Cash in bank, that's after all checks, if they would have all have cleared, would have been $35,377.20. And the amount that's due from Housing Choice was $7,282.09. That is now being paid every month. So that was, once Brandy found out what the total amount was, then it's reimbursed. And you'll see that on the Housing Choice voucher side. Okay. Going to page 2, I just wanted to kind of do a quick review of the revenues and expenses. Looking at the very first line, we had budgeted $355,800, but we have actually collected $395,270. So that's an increase in our favor. That's just that's awesome. It really, really is. The next big increase was operating grants from HUD. That's the operating subsidy that we get. We had budgeted $530,100, but we got $549,229. And the main reason why we did that was because the proration of the amount that we computed for this current year, it went up. So Congress had additional funds that they gave across the board. So our percentage went up and we received more funds. So that's good news. Moving on down, just looking at total operating expenses, our total operating expenses we had budgeted is $930,440, and we actually spent less, which was $920,295. And it would have really been in a better position had we not had those extraordinary items. Right above that, $59,841. So all in all, our total change in that position, or our total surplus, if you want to call it that, was $51,410. Now, we need to understand, though, that this is not the final figures for the year ended September 18. We have to do year-end adjustments like prepaid rent, prepaid insurance, and that's what I'll be working on with Brandy and Ms. Hollis to get the unaudited submission in. So there's several adjustments that are going to be made, depreciation expense, things of that nature. But this is very good news,
Okay,
okay?
great. Let me ask you a question. Well, first, I want to state, just so people are aware, Ms. Hollis is not with us this evening because she is at a Executive Director Commissioners event in Atlanta. And actually, Commissioner Woods will be joining her on Thursday. Yeah. So, that's good. So, you know, she's not just missing the meeting. But the question that I had is based on how the budget is appearing right now, how are we doing in recapturing our reserves?
By that $51,000, that increase is actually going to replenish our reserves.
Okay.
Now, we have not gotten, I don't think we've given her the information they need for the Capital Fund 17 yet. And once we do that, then that'll strictly go back to the bottom line to our reserves. We haven't done that yet.
Okay.
So.
Do
but
we have an
this is
idea?
gonna, I'm sorry?
We have an idea when that'll be done? I mean, I know y'all have been working on
Yeah.
all of these things, and
I think it's a matter, I think HUD wants, I provided a spreadsheet of all the expenses for 2016 that we spent for reserves. I don't have that in front of me. It's like $200,000 plus. And the operating subsidy is 149, I believe, for 17. And so that, and I think that's what, I don't know, I don't have it right in front of me. But I think once they get the copies of those checks and the backup information they want to review, the impression that I got is that they were going to go ahead and put all that money, you know, into the low rent program.
okay, great.
Yeah. And you have all the backup information.
And everything's numbered.
Yes. You know, I called my software company. I said, there's got to be, because this is new. It's not still new. So I said, there's got to be a way to put these in a numerical sequence. She said, yeah, look at the very top. You check that box. I said, are you serious? I thought I'd have to change every statement. He said, just check that box.
All right, good. I did pick up on that this month.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So,
That's low
do we
rent.
have any board questions or discussion for the low rent side of things, or?
I just say, realizing these are ending numbers with the adjustments you said are gonna come. They just look better than last
They
year.
look
They
very
look-
good. It's
yeah.
very promising. It really, really is.
Yeah.
You could see the, doing a lot of work.
Yeah, I feel a lot better, where we stand today than where we were this time last year, for sure.
Yes. You're not the only one.
All right, all right, I guess we'll move on to HCVP.
Okay. Housing choice vouchers, cash in bank, was $26,780, and that's if everything would have cleared, okay? And I just want to point out, under current liabilities, it's showing that, Housing Choice Voucher Program owes Section 8 the same amount, $72,8209, okay? And that was paid in October.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's look at we're going to actually skip to page 3 on this particular one. And the reason being is because you have to look at this, and I say it just as a point of information, you have to look at the admin reserve as compared, separately, or as, we look at it separately from the HAP reserve, or restricted net position and unrestricted. So if we look at, on page 3, we look at total operating revenues. We had budgeted $227,850, okay, and we only got $177,097, okay. Although that is lower We have actually increased our lease up, and I know Mr. Bailey wanted me to keep up with this for him. We've increased compared to last year. We've increased our lease up for the 12 months, 434 units. Okay, in 2017, for 9/30/17, for the 12 months in it, we actually had a leased up in Housing Choice, 2792, but for 9/18, for the 12 months, it's 3226. So, you know, the revenues are increasing, it just takes some time, okay? And let's jump down to total administrative expenses. We again budgeted 228,490, and we only spent 177,979, which is good compared to what we actually thought we were going to spend. That's because of the adjustments that were made on the administrative team this past year. Total general expenses is about the same. We have budgeted 25,480, and we spent 24,658. Okay, so if you look at the bottom line, the total deficit we projected was 26,120, and we actually came a little bit better than that, 25,541. Okay, so you can see the trend is getting better and better. Okay, we still have a negative reserve, but we're slowly but surely working on it. Okay, now let's go to page 4. Looking at total HAP revenues, we had budgeted $1,630,000, but we actually got $1,769,000. And the reason being is because, you know, HUD required us to use our reserves that we had, that we were holding as of the end of last year. So you could see that, wait a second, I'm sorry, excuse me. The total amount that we budgeted was $1,620,000, but we got more because of the fact that we were leasing up. Okay, if you look at the bottom line, it shows where we actually had a deficit of 77,422, but that actually cut into the reserve that we had last year. At the end of last year, we had $100,000 plus. Okay, so it's showing after you reduce the total restricted net position by the 77,422, we still have a positive restricted net position of 22,742. We spent more than what we actually got, and the reason why is because we were able to use our reserve from last fiscal year of $100,000. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay.
So the total, if you look at the very bottom, I did a little different. I don't know if you got color copies or not.
No, we don't.
Okay, I highlighted in blue to try to follow this little deal at the bottom showing the current figures to compare to what the little block at the bottom is. The block at the bottom shows the net position for unrestricted funds and restricted funds. The unrestricted funds, which is your admin fee, the total deficit is $172,431. And for restricted funds, which is your HAP equity, is $22,742 positive, okay? Now, again, we do have some small adjustments that have to be made, end-of-year adjustments. That's going to, you know, make some small changes. But it's usually with Section 8 housing choice, it's not too much.
Okay.
Any questions?
I really don't have everything.
Let's see. Also, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
It's not, I mean, it's not on like any of these forms, it's just more of, something I would like to see. Is it possible to maybe get a snapshot of like a building? And like, so let's say we have our Homeville development. Can we see how much how much the building is bringing in? Just that building?
I think you talk about like for the low rent program?
Yeah, for low rent.
I think we can, huh? Doesn't 10 Mass break that out separately?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just like to see how much that building is bringing in, then how much we getting for what units, like, so the units in mod, I want to see how much it's bringing in, how much we can pay for whatever units on mod, and also the units that are vacant, how much we should be getting for those units.
Like lost revenue.
Just so I can kind of see the profit of each building. And then if it's not too much to maybe put in maybe the expense of maybe turning one over for a month or like. So I just want to see if there's a way to report building by building or development by development, because I see the big picture, but I also kind of want to, just from my background, I kind of want to, being a manager, property manager, I want to see the buildings, how they perform.
Okay. So that would really be basically by the, by site, like Boutique,
Yeah.
Zalman's and,
Yeah. Because I mean, we're going to get into it, but we have a list of like 15 units that are vacant,
right.
you know, and I just want to see like how much money we losing by having so many units vacant. And do we have to have all those units vacant at once? But then again, the ones that in mod we're getting paid for, so those are fine. So
Yeah.
I'll see that factor in and be like, the building isn't performing that bad.
Yeah, I see what
You
you're
see
saying.
what I'm saying? Okay.
I know that 10 Mass, the software that we have now, does break out the income. And the expenses, we try to break it out by property.
If you can, because I know there's like,
Yeah, it's
I know you got to
kinda-
factor in like admin, like how you going to factor in admin per building if you have admin for the whole?
it would be percentage based probably from the
Yeah,
whole.
right.
Now, one of the things I talked to Carl, how do you say his last name?
Right?
Lorette, okay. I was thinking, I messed up that last name, Lorette. And he's a CPA, and he was talking to me about how he'd like to look at the financials. And I had brought a little sample here that I was going to show you from the Section 8 standpoint. And what he wanted to see was what the cost per unit is, okay? Like, for instance, how much did we receive in the Section 8 program for the month of, like, September? We leased up 282 units, okay? We got 12,823 as an example. So the cost per unit lease is $45.47, okay? If you look at it for the 12-month budgeted figure, okay, we had available 4,476. We budgeted 198,800. So that cost per unit is $44.44. So you could kind of compare what we have budgeted, what we have for the year to date, and what we have for the month. And all I had to do was just actually convert the financial statements over to an Excel spreadsheet and just drop those figures in. So if you like, I could let you look at it,
Okay.
give you a copy. I'll email him a copy to see if that's what he wanted. But I could see where that would be, in fact, the old HUD forms required you to break it out that way. They want to know what the cost per unit was, or what they called, their term was unit months leased, okay? So, and that's what we would call it for the low rent program.
Is that something you would do monthly, quarterly?
I could do it monthly,
I don't know what your thoughts were. I was just trying to figure out how would you break that down?
yeah. I just wanted to see if that's something y'all want, because we have a new fiscal year coming up, so this is the right time, and we're getting ready to work on transferring everything to the in-house system, 10 Mass, but we talked about it today. I think through the calendar year, we'll probably use my software because we have W-2s that have to get out, 1099s and things of that nature. But at the same time, we're going to populate October, November, and December in the new system, and we'll be able to compare the month to month to make sure that apples are apples, and, so, it's a little bit of additional work, but that's kind of what I've done with other housing authorities, just to make sure that everything is the same. Yeah,
Sounds good.
Absolutely. I like that idea.
okay. But we'll look at that, and I do know that it does break out the income. Okay, I just gotta look at the expenses. Okay.
All right, any other board discussion regarding HCVP expense report for September 2018?
No, sir. With that,
All right, at this time, we'll move along to the VMS, the voucher management system. Ms. Hayes, are you kind of giving us an update on the VMS, or are you prepared to do that, or? Okay, I'll just ask if we have any board discussion, unless Russell, you have something you want to add to it.
No, the only thing is that's not on there, doesn't get percentages, our lease-up rate, for the month of
I do have one or two things.
September was 75.60%, 75.60%, and in August it was 73.99. So, you could see where we're just increasing. Last month, in August, we leased up 276, and in September it's 282. I'm looking at my spreadsheet, that's what it should be in there. Yeah.
How many of these, so is a large number of these vouchers, are they staying in the parish? So we having like success with people around here are willing to accept the program? All right, good.
Cool.
Good.
On page number 3 of that report, under other income and expenses, when it says number of hoard-to-house families leased, what's that telling me?
You can explain it.
You want to turn the microphone on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That means that the family might have difficulty finding housing due to maybe their need handicap, accessible units. Their income is such that they need a larger unit, but their income doesn't support, only supports so much. And sometimes that could be difficult just because it's hard when the tenant needs a 4-bedroom house because of the number of people they have in the family, but their income is such. So, I'm sorry? Oh, but yeah, so that's
So
one of the
we
things that's hard.
supplement that, or we?
Yes, we do, but
Okay,
it's
all
still,
right, gotcha.
because of the unit size, it could be difficult to find just because of the number of household members.
Gotcha,
All
gotcha.
4 bedrooms are not, very popular in our area.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 bedrooms are easier to find and, so things of that nature. So if somebody has a particularly large family and they need, a ramp or, special accommodations because of a disability, they're considered hard to house.
Got it, yeah.
But we are still assisting those families, so.
Okay, cool.
And let me add that HUD at one time used to pay additional funds. They used to pay $75 per heart-to-house family that are housed. They don't do that anymore, but they still want to keep track of it. So we have to keep track of it. And what I was told is that in case they ever have discretionary funds, to divvy out between the housing authorities, they might use that to help subsidize, because it does take more time. That's the whole thing. You're just to get them placed. So they want to help subsidize that amount by $75 per house
Of
family.
course, me trying to think positively, I was hoping that meant there was 4 families who actually found a house of their own to move
They're
in.
actually housed.
And then,
Yeah.
They're actually housed. They're
Yeah.
just listed as such as a hard to house family because of, some of those factors.
Yeah.
right, cool.
All right.
I think that's all I had in there.
Ms. Hayes, are you planning to give an update on, for the executive director's report, or?
I believe in the executive director's report, Ms. Hollis was just going to have you look at the summary reports for our low rent,
Okay,
and ask if you had any questions on the information that was supplied in the packet.
okay, regarding anything in the packet that Ms. Hollis has provided us, minus any legal, issues that are outstanding, that we need to worry about confidentialities, is there any board discussion?
I know he mentioned our vacancy report, and I was looking at seeing 15 were vacant currently. I'm seeing they're not all in disallowance. I was hoping that was gonna be stuff that we set aside empty for that RAD thing. Just what's kind of the reasoning behind?
The reasoning
15?
for the number of vacancies,
just-
we have 15 vacancies altogether, but 10 of those vacancies are
In the
already
mods.
described under the
Gotcha.
mod
Yes,
program.
ma'am.
So those units will be modernized under that program.
But technically, without
Correct.
mod, we just have 5 that are
Correct.
vacant. Yes,
And
ma'am.
then
Okay.
of those 5, we have, is it 2? 2 that are gonna be made ready by our maintenance staff.
Okay.
And the other 3, after research, where they probably are going to be going to modernization as well.
Okay.
So, we very well may be looking at a report that shows 2 to 3 vacancies by
Correct,
next week.
correct. And that would put us back at 98% occupancy.
How long do the units that are in mind, like, what's the typical time frame? How long do they usually take?
Oh, I don't think there's a typical time frame. There is a time frame for the funds to be obligated and for
Yeah.
them to be under contract. I don't know the particular dates and time in which they have for that, you know,
You talk about for the capital fund programs, or you talking about just a turnaround a unit?
no, just capital fund.
yeah.
For those units that are under modernization.
So like, how long basically, I guess, how long are they gonna pay us to turn the units around?
They will.
Receive those
we-
funds
we get
while they're in mod.
Yeah, we get operating subsidy funds.
Right.
If they approve units under modernization. And they look at that information in the PIC software. And, as long as it's approved still under HUD, now whatever, I'm not quite sure how long they're gonna, they'll give us that, they'll say that unit
Subsidy.
can stay in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do know if they're still approved, when we do the operating subsidy calculations, then we're gonna get paid the operating subsidy portion of it.
Yeah.
See, what you're getting at is how long do we have
Have to do it,
to
yeah.
do it?
Yeah, because I don't want, because I mean, that's,
Yeah, and the housing
lot-
authority
so
is
I-
already taking steps to look into, getting needs assessments done on
Yeah.
all those properties that are on the mod.
one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You know, say
Correct,
we don't wanna fall
because we wanna
behind.
make sure that those units are, renovated and ready for lease up for the community.
Gotcha.
As long as we're getting paid for it, it's fine, but
Yeah.
the minute we stop.
But we still wanna, we
becomes a
still wanna
huge
make
problem.
them usable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just another general question. Our sewer issue, how did that work out?
Okay, so what we're waiting on now is we're waiting on a report from BLD. They were the contractors that went out to, assess the situation. That has not yet been received, but, they're working on that. As soon as we get that, we'll be in a position to figure out a path forward.
Okay, but everything's functioning at least to the
We're-
best
we're-
it can be.
Yeah, I mean, we all are aware of the situation, and it's an ongoing issue.
Gotcha.
But it's certainly, we're moving the path forward to
Gotcha.
try and get some resolution.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion
No, sir.
on agency? All right, We have several board resolutions this evening. The,
Do you not see that they hand you these two? Did they hand you these two? These were added to that.
we have, the first resolution for the agenda this evening is Resolution Number 18-10-30-30-1. Resolution requesting approval of the utility allowance study and new adjusted utility allowance rates for program participants. Whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority has operated without updating its utility allowance rates for an extended period of time, and whereas there is an existing requirement to reconsider and study those rates annually and ensure that they are in accord with local rates, and whereas St. Charles Parish Housing Authority employed Housing Solutions Alliance, Houston, Texas, to perform an annual utility rate study for the authority that was completed, and whereas Housing Solutions Alliance utility study was never presented to the board for approval, and the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority staff respectfully requests the board to approve the HSA study dated September 28, 2018, and allow St. Charles Parish Housing Authority to incorporate the findings in the updated utility rates. The new utility rates will be utilized for future participant payments effective October 1st, 2018. Any board discussion?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Resolution 18-10-30-30-1, the resolution requesting approval of the utility allowance study and new adjusted utility allowance rates for program participants.
All right, we have a motion by Woods and a second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries.
So the ones we were handed, it's just two.
This one was in the packet, and we were handed these two.
Right.
Right.
Thanks. All right.
I want to look at document 23. Which one's the official one, huh? I mean, well,
He did read off this one.
read off the right one?
Hmm?
10:30.
Yeah,
30.
so there was a discussion because we had moved around the board meeting date. So some of the resolutions have a different number system, but they're all different. So we're not going to be repeating any resolution numbers, but some of them will have a 23 instead of a 30. So that's the difference, but I'm reading them right from the resolution, so we're good.
Yes, sir.
All right, the next resolution is 18-10-23, actually, let's go to this one next. Resolution number 18-10-32. This is the resolution to authorize the bank account to be opened at First National Bank USA. Now, this was something that we previously voted on, but we had to revise our procurement policy to make it possible. So we're literally restating a resolution that was already created and just adopting it into the record. Whereas the corporation is legally organized in and pursuant to the laws of Louisiana, and whereas the Board of Directors of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, the corporation, by agreement at a meeting where notice was proper and quorum was met, in accordance with all corporation bylaws and all applicable law, have determined that opening one or more bank accounts is in the corporation's best interest. Now therefore, the following is resolved. Corporation is authorized to establish one or more accounts with First National Bank USA, the institution, which includes but not limited to maintaining and funding savings, checking, or other financial accounts. And the following corporation agents, the authorized agents, are authorized to endorse and make deposits, sign checks, withdraw funds, and otherwise operate such account on behalf of the corporation. Leatrice Hollis, Brandy Hayes, Webb J., and Rodney Woods. Authorized agents may not borrow money or obtain credit on the corporation's behalf However, such authority may be granted to the authorized agents by resolution at a later date. The Secretary is directed to update the corporate records with this resolution as appropriate, and the resolution may be executed in counterparts. Facsimile or scanned signatures are binding and are considered to be original signatures. So, just for the record, again, for the adoption, do we have a motion from the board?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt Resolution 18-10-30-2.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Woods, second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, and the final resolution, I believe, is Resolution Number 18-10-23-3, Architect Needs Assessment for St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. Whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, in accordance to its adopted 5-year consolidated plan, will renovate and modernize a portion of its 129 public housing units, and whereas the federal government, HUD, has appropriated $232,160 for this purpose, whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority will hire an architect firm to perform a needs assessment for these funds to support its limited resources by identifying the most efficient way to approach renovations or modernizing portions or all of St. Charles Parish Housing Authority units. Do we have any board discussion?
No, sir, we're thankful to HUD for the funds to do this, and our authority doesn't need it, so it's a good, positive thing for us.
And this is just for them to do a study, right? They just wanna
Correct.
Do a
The-
Just the
feasibility
study,
study.
yeah.
They're coming out to do the study and then make recommendations based on that study. To needs assessment.
Well, if HUD's giving us the funds, I approve. Mr. Child, to pass a motion to approve Resolution 18-10-23-3, the Architect Need Assessment for St. Charles Parish Housing Authority.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Bailey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, and do we have any other board discussion at this time? Any other motions from the board?
Do we need to? Is it? All right,
All right,
comments?
this is the time for public comments. Seeing no one from the public here present this evening, we can dispense with that. Do we have any motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn the meeting at, 6:39?
All right, motion made by Commissioner Woods, second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. The meeting is now adjourned. The time is 6:39.